Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world for all the night. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, hey, peace, Mary, peace, peace, alright. Isn't it time, brother, stop time? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace, alright. Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world for all the night. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, hey, peace, Mary, peace, peace, alright. Isn't it time, brother, stop time? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace, alright. Peace, peace, together. Welcome everybody to my show, Between Two Worlds Shadow Chasing program. Thank you guys for being part of this. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Anyways, we got let's see. Let's talk about number one. The major category everybody's talking about right now is the Tarzan's favorite little character that swings with him across in the trees and the old jungles. They're trying to, I guess, to say, use that as an excuse. How is it that Tarzan never got sick with his monkey? You know what I mean? Like, give me a break, guys. So just think about it. All these years, Tarzan swung in the trees, and never once did he ever get a cold from his best friend Cheetah. Okay, so I mean, this is what they do, folks. They have a tendency, the I guess what you call the health authorities or whoever these people are, they're trying their darndest to make us believe that we have to start to even do more jabs to ourselves. I have witnessed so many um, videos of people actually lining up to get the fourth and the fifth of the MP in their arm. Some people are saying, oh, like I remember watching some of the guys that are talking about, oh no, nobody's doing it. People are smart. No, there are people out there right now dumb enough to do it. And I watched some videos. They're doing it, and they're getting sicker, absolutely sicker, or whatever, worse. So I remember watching this one young lady, and she turned around and she said, "The MP is an autoimmune blistering disease from the third jab." No, this actually didn't come from a woman. It came from a doctor. That's what they said. So what does that tell you, folks? All right. Some of you have been noticing a lot of white balls of light walking, flying through the back room here. It is not dust. My room is very active with spirits because later on tonight, we're going to be doing readings. Okay. It's been a few weeks now since I've been talking to folks, and there are some people's relatives that are actually swinging around, hanging around in my room, wanting to get, I guess, say, get a message. So later on tonight, in the next hour, within an hour from now, top of the hour, we will be taking calls, and it will be nice to get for messages for people, right, from the other side. But I wanted to clear the air regarding this. So again, repeat. There, one person had said the MP is an autoimmune blistering disease from the third jab, and that makes a lot of sense because I mean there are more people coming into the hospitals now that I have talked to. In fact, I was at City Hall yesterday because we were getting ready for our Fusion Festival coming up July the 23rd and 24th, and I'll be part of the Métis Festival myself. I have a 30-foot teepee that I'm responsible for. I'm actually one of the leaders of that event and in our Indigenous area. So, me being there, I've talked to a few people that I have not seen for a couple of years, and they were actually saying that they got all three, and they have noticed that they're having problems with their health. And, like, what do you do? What do you do? Right? And I want to tell them in the conference room, or in the, I guess just say, yeah, in the, basically we're in the main room where the city hall is, we're all gathering, and this woman is wearing a mask. She was still wearing a mask, and I'm thinking, you already got three jabs, and you said it's a cure, and I said, no, it's not meant to be. You were an experiment. I kept telling her, I said, do you realize it's not, they never, I told her the names of the organizations that created all this. I said, None of these people said that it was a cure. They all said it was actually an experiment. She sat there, she's like, oh, okay, but I'm still going to wear this. And I still have to be 6 feet apart. Really? I'm not going to wear one. Never have. I would say the amount of people that showed up, because there's still people are still scared gathering. Um, even for the month of July, they're still scared, thinking that people are still going to be wearing masks. They still think people are going to be doing the same thing again. In fact, in July, there are people actually saying that there may not be able to gather anywhere, that we probably be doing going we'll be stuck at home again. No. Why do you guys keep loading the freaking gun again? Why do you guys keep on saying you're gonna be stuck at home? That's bullcrap. You're done. Like you're not learning the lesson. The lesson has nothing to do with the jab. The lesson has nothing to do with what was going on all this time. The lesson was to rescue the children. That's what this whole thing was about. And also to capture all the bad people that were stealing the kids and the women. Human trafficking. That's what this whole thing was about. And world domination, as much as they're trying to do, is control us too. But guess what? We got smart. Or are some of my listeners and viewers not paying attention? Like I'm saying, folks, that it's almost over. It's absolutely almost over, and everyone's going like, oh, come on, you know, come on. When is it going to be? When is this going to be over? And it's not going to be. No one can use that word. It's not over to the fat lady sings, because how many fat ladies can sing? Um, some do. They can sing. Got good voices. But yeah, there are people. And again, it's almost done. We just have to be patient. Let's put this way, folks. We have more freedom than you think. And yes, there are the governments are trying their darndest to still place fear, FEAR, into you. Okay, fear. And the reason why they're doing it, they're trying to still get you to wake up, still trying to get you to say, enough is enough. I'm not going to tolerate this. Okay, that's what they're doing right now. Enough is enough. And yet, put this way, I've been to a lot of stores that are so appreciative of not even having anybody to wear a mask. Nobody has to wear anything. They're not forced to. They're not expected to. No store is forcing you to wear one now. I mean, even when they did have telling people they had to wear one in a store, I never wore one. Never, ever. I said I'm exempt. And they said, well, no, you still have to wear it. No, I'm exempt. No, you still have to wear it. No, I don't. Don't tell me what I got to wear, because you're not my boss. And also, too, you're not a government. You represent nothing. You're just a security officer. Security officers are supposed to protect people from stealing from the store. You have no say in telling me what I have to and have to not wear. Even when a police officer walks up to me and tells me that I have to wear something, even they can't tell me what to wear, because they know the law. They know that they would break the charter. So I never wore a mask. And the only time I did wear the mask, was respect for my wife when we went into the hospital when she was ill. That's the only thing they mandatorily wanted you to cover it, but I never put it on my ear, on my nose. I was about here, and I would just shuffle around it a little bit, but I never really tried to wear it. And they didn't say nothing. They didn't say nothing. Like you gotta stand up for your freedom, and they can't force you to leave. No one can. This is the thing. They'll try to get, like, they got my wife off guard when she was quite ill, and when she was in the hospital, and they shoved this stick up her nose. That caught her off guard because she was quite ill and she had no conscious awareness of what they were doing. And she said it hurts so bad because they rammed it up her nose. They didn't just like gently, boom, like real quick, and she and she opened her eyes because she didn't know what was going on. And they got her. And she said, never again they'll ever put that in me. She's that hurt. Never again. Because I didn't expect that. Because she told them I'm not jabbed. But they were going to determine to shove up her nose without her knowing about it, because she was almost at death's door and they still want to dip her freaking nose. You're dipping pigs, folks. The Chinese taught you this. They told you to put these up your nose. Those sticks, okay? Think about it. And I've watched videos of so many children hurt, damaged, brain damage. Kids now can't even concentrate because it hurts so much. You know, that's crazy. They some of them not even going to school because it hurt so much. Some of the kids that were, when they were trying to get every child even to do a check every day up the nose, every day. And they got to the point where the children were getting so sore with sore noses. Oh, well, it must be, you know what it is. No, it's not. You've been hurting my nose. And so a lot of kids didn't go to school. And the teachers are going, well, I don't understand why they're not coming to school. What are you guys doing? And even teachers have no rights to do that for nose. There was no health workers there to help them do it. It was the teachers. They were ramming it up the kid's nose. Give me a break. And this is in Canada too, folks. There's so many children that told me, oh, they made me they put me against the corner and they shoved it up my nose. They're holding me down. Their parents didn't even know about it. And they told the child to keep their mouth shut, not say a word, or they won't pass their class. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? So I have my friend Mick in the chat room. Thank you, Mick, for being part of the chat room. Thank you guys actually in the Facebook as well as YouTube chat room. We're both running back and forth here as well. So if you guys are unable to get into Facebook, you can always go into the YouTube chat room. And like I said before, the teachers have placed rules or some sort of scare tactic on the children. And the children are absolutely deathly afraid of school. And yeah, Catherine says in the chat, how can we prove injury from the test? I believe in my heart that it is caused by my granddaughter's facial tics now, and breaks my heart watching her. It is facial tics. It's from ramming that up her nose all the time. And she's not going to tell you how many times they've done it, because the children are told not to say anything, or they will never pass in school. They'll never go to school, back to school. They'll be considered as a failure. They'll give them an F. Even though these children are smart, they'll give them an F. And a lot of teachers were abusive. They took advantage of the children. And no teacher has any right to say, well, it was my job, I had to do it. No, you didn't. You had no right to touch any child, holding them down and ramming that stick up their nose. You have none whatsoever right to do that. And if you did, guess what? If you admitted it, guess what's going to happen to you? There's actually the Nuremberg Code, and they're coming for you. The Geneva Convention, they're coming for you. The military is going to come pick you up. You guys think, whoever you think you are, you think you got away with it? No. If you haven't gotten scooped up now, you're going to come and get you in the next little bit, next few months. You wished you never messed with people like us, because we're exposing you. We're exposing you. The truth needs to be shared. I'm sick and tired of seeing so many children, hearing stories of so many children being forced, even right now. They're being forced to hold down, even in schools or at home or wherever they're going. And they're still forcing those dipsticks on those kids in their nose. Still forcing. Other countries doing the same thing. I thought we had that freedom. Whatever happened, people say I have my freedom of choice, freedom of speech, my freedom of thought, freedom of movement. But the government does not want you to have that movement. So they try to take all that rights away from you. That's why our Prime Minister in Canada wants to take all those rights away from us. Because he had a plan to make sure that you cannot say nothing about the government, nothing. If you say anything negative about them on any show, they're going to track you. Whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, you name it, any social network, they're going to track you. And guess what? They want to come to your door, come pick you up and take you to an internment camp. Why? They did it actually in Australia. They practiced on those people there. They even actually, first when it began, a couple of years back, they even arrested a pregnant woman almost ready to have a baby. They arrested her and took her to jail. She had her baby in prison. They wouldn't release her. She almost died in prison because they told her it was illegal. It wasn't illegal. Okay? It wasn't illegal. But they made up a rule or made up a law. They come to your door. Bang, 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 bang. We've been following you on Facebook and you can't do this. You can't say that. Boom. They arrest you, handcuffed, right to jail. They didn't release you within the hour, give you a ticket. No. You went to jail and they kept you there. As far as I understand, that woman's still in prison. 2 years have gone by. I'm not sure if she's been released, but if she did get released, they want her to sign a piece of paper not to say anything. And they're doing the same thing with other people that are behind bars now, that are the protesters, the truckers convoy. Okay. They don't want them to talk. So they're keeping them in prison until they sign that piece of paper. And then if they want to get out of jail, they have to sign this piece of paper to keep their mouth shut and not say anything about how tortured they were, that took on the torture in prison. Pat King is the only person that we know so far has been in prison the longest. Pat King has been in there since the end of the day, and end of that time of the protest. He's still in prison. Patrick King is still in prison. And they want him to sign. Oh, you can get out. You sign, but you can't come back here again. You can't mention it. You can't do anything. But they also may have threatened him and said, if you do say anything, we're going to come and take your boys away from you. They're going to basically try everything they can to remove any child away from you, any relationship. They want to make sure that you never, ever speak again. All of this they said they're going to arrest you for is illegal. Okay? Entirely illegal. Thank you. Pat King has been in prison for 100 days. That's a little over 3 months. 3 months. For protesting? And he wasn't even one of the leaders. But because he was always on the internet, talking about freedom, and his friend George wanting to talk about freedom and yell the word freedom, that's all they did. And he was never charged. Pat King really didn't have a charge, a proven factual charge. They're calling it mischief. And whatever else they want to put on top of it, there's 10, 15 charges. They're trying to come up with something. Right? That's what they're doing. They're trying to come up with something they can actually scare people with. And they're going to try and scare tactic every freaking Canadian. Americans are different. Folks, those who are American on the channel, thank you guys for being part of it too. But Americans and anyone else from other parts of the world, Americans are different. Americans will fight to the end because they have that extra friend on their hip or in their closet to protect themselves, their families. We don't have that here in Canada. And like Australia, they don't have that protection. If anybody comes in there trying to threaten you and your family, you are always to protect yourself. Us as Canadians, the only way we can protect ourselves is to fight back with these, or just basically come into court ourselves and fight for our rights with no fists. And we got Christopher James, who's been doing so well. A Warrior Calls, that's his website. You need to go to this page. If you haven't ever seen what Christopher James knows, this guy has done his major research, and watch his stuff. Go to his page, Christopher James, and he's got a page. He's actually on Rumble, I believe, and a few other sites. It's called A Warrior Calls. Watch his stuff. Learn from him. He knows what the law does. I was hoping that Christopher James can make contact with Pat King and be represented with him as his lawyer. Because guaranteed, if Christopher James was with Pat King or be by his side, Pat would be out by now. No one would be able to hold Pat inside. Thing is that I talked to some RCMP about this, some police officers, and every police officer said that they're not supposed to be withheld in prison for any reason. If there's more violence, drug dealers and other people out there that are done major work that should be behind bars for a long time, and yet they're releasing them the next day. Even a thief, they release them the next day until they go to court. But did they release Pat King? No. They're trying to make Pat King the martyr. Like they said, well, we have him, and if anybody else tries to protest, then you're going to be next. In Ottawa, when the people came back, when the bikers went back, okay, everybody on a motorcycle showed up, tried to show up in Ottawa, and yet the government made sure that they would not let nobody pass into the inner city. Just a few bikers, but not many. There was well over 10,000 plus bikers that were held outside the city of Ottawa, not allowed to come in to protest, to basically stand up for the rights of Pat King. They were there for Pat King. They were there. They were there for everybody that actually were still behind bars. And they kept them from coming in. Why? What are they so afraid of? But the ones that did show up, there was a police force, or so we think it's a police force, right? And I'll tell you, when I saw the video, because I'm very glad that the guys were taking video recordings of these so-called police officers in I guess we'll say in military gear, wearing yellow vests. But the insignia that I saw on there had nothing to do with the police. Sure, a little sign says police on it doesn't mean they're police. When I looked at the insignia, and I may have shared this with you guys before, but I actually looked at the insignia and I thought, okay, I'm going to do my research because I know some of my military symbols. And I looked at it a lot closer, and I can tell you right now, every officer that wore the yellow vest was not a Canadian cop. Not. They were Canadian military, Army. Sorry, let's take it back. They were American Army, not Canadian police. They're an American military army, but they were special forces. That's why they were belly clubbing people with billy clubs, because that's not what Canadian police do. Not with those particular clubs. Those clubs are foreign looking. They weren't Canadian made. They were from the United States. Now, why are those American Army there? And why? I mean, the insignia on there had showed an eagle with clutches of 3 arrows on each clutch of the, like the talons or clutches of the eagle. Okay, spread open this way, and then an arrow or a sword in the center. So I went online and looked for that very same insignia. That's American Army Special Forces. So here, either I'm not sure if it's Trudeau or whoever this person was that hired them to play the role of the Canadian police. Why are they in this country beating on our people? An American soldier, American Army. Is this a call to war? Or is an American soldier have a right to beat up a Canadian citizen? Think about it. I don't mind if we have people that are actually protecting our country. I don't mind other people from other countries protecting our country, but you have no right, none, to assault a Canadian citizen. Because if you were ever in a predicament and you were to go up against a real Canadian soldier, you guys showed up with guns. We didn't. When we had the military, First and Second World War, and I work with veterans. My father was in the military. My uncle was military. Not one Canadian was ever forced to join the military. They all volunteered. They volunteered because they thought they were doing the right thing to help mankind, to protect their country. So who did they put in the front lines on D-Day? Who did they put in the front lines on Dieppe? Who actually put them on the front lines in every war that we fought against the Germans? They always put the Canadians in the front lines. We sacrificed more of our lives, our people. 70%, they said this, 70% of the military soldiers that were on the front lines, Canadian soldiers that were on the front lines, 70% were Native American and African American. Native American and African American that were on the front lines. We, our people, fought, but then when they came home, neither race was acknowledged for the longest time. And yet they fought for the freedom of this country. So it took many, many years for the recognition of these men that actually fought for this country to be free. And you had the audacity to hire and bring in American Army Special Forces to beat on our people, and especially those guys that were on the horses that came across and knocked all those people down, and couple of people died, scooped them away. Now, that's what I was told, or that's what I was supposed to believe. But then I thought to myself, crisis actors. Crisis actors. Were they sent there for a reason? Because I never did see that lady before in a walker. No one knew who she was. But she said that she was an Anishinaabe. And then I talked to some of the Anishinaabe people there, and they go like, we don't know her. But she had a walker. And they're thinking, okay. But what about the other guy that had a beating laying on the ground? They put the boots to him, and then he got dragged away. Whatever happened to him? Crisis actor. Think about it. Was I ever in the military? No. My father was and my uncle was. But my job is because of my father's background, and I worked with the military a lot, the veterans. And whenever we did powwows, I would be there to stand to help them in the grand entries, and they were the ones carrying the eagle staff and the flags in the front of the lines when they come into the grand entry. So I did that a lot for a lot of years, and then I got honored by the veterans, and they gave me And they told me, said, we want you to be the one that would give you the responsibility. We want you to be recognized by our people, by the Vancouver veterans, Indigenous veterans, that anytime there's ever a powwow or a special event, that you have the right to call upon the veterans to come forward in the front lines to be in the grand entry. That means I had to be responsible to call them up to come and walk in with them, walk in with us in the grand entry of all powwows or Indigenous events. And I was given that right because they gave me this ring. And there's only 4 of a kind that were made, and there's 4 veterans that had these rings. So one veteran gave me this ring, and I had that right. So if anybody asked me where to get that ring, it's from a veteran, Métis veteran. And he told me, he said, now we're giving you this right, and you say our name, who they are. The man that gave me this, his name is Musham Bob Kelly. And so I do this work, and been working with the veterans for a lot of years. I mean, I do. Sometimes I used to kick my butt myself when I was a kid, young. My dad would say, "Well, I want you to join the Canadian Armed Forces." My dad wanted me to join, and I said, "No, Pop, I don't want to go." Like, you're afraid? No, I'm not afraid. I just don't want to go. And I used to have dreams. I had nightmares of being in the military, being shot at by Germans. And so I found out later that was a repeat of my cell memory, that my past life, I was already in the military in the Second World War, shooting at or I could say defending the land as a British soldier. I even knew my name, the time, who I was. And I was shot by a German, and or the Germans, and I got shot in the chest. And then I was 23 years of age at the time, and I just lifted him out of my body and went into heaven. And then the next time I came back into this life to be who I am. Did I ever go to a powwow in Ohio? No, I haven't, not yet. I'm a powwow dancer too. But so anyways, what I just read was just I want to bring this up because I thought it was important. Like I said before, the thing is that I know full well that President Trump is trying to do his darndest to help us out. And I know he's been there, like he's been trying to take care of Canada, because really we don't have leaders here. And there are certain leaders that have already been taken away, and then there are replacements to look like them, the new actors. We already know that. Some of you may not know that, but I already know that because I've been told already by the Alliance. Information that was shared with me. So, like I said before, folks, if you want to put the word out, and if Christopher James does not know that Patrick King is still in prison and he needs help, because apparently, according to someone said, that Patrick King now needs another lawyer because the lawyer gave up on him. I don't know why. Okay. Now, so basically, I'm also want to talk about too is human cloning. And I remember being in the farm. They were talking about, I can't remember the name of the lamb or the sheep, but they named the sheep. And that was back in the early 70s, and they were talking about this sheep that they were trying to clone, and they cloned it. Anyways, and I remember when the government was saying on the radio, "Oh, it'll be illegal to clone humans." Yeah, right. They've been cloning humans. In Winnipeg, there's a location they've been using as well in Vancouver. Dolly, thank you very much, Bonnie. Dolly, the lamb or the sheep, or yeah, I think it was a sheep. And they made a big repeat about that. And Dolly was cloned many times over, and humans have been cloned for years. Now, some people say, well, how do you know the difference between human cloning or cloning and the human person? Well, there's a certain thing about cloning. That is, what I understood is clones, people cannot dream. Also, they cannot reproduce. They take on all the responsibility of other things, but what they do is they carry the consciousness of, or the memories of the previous person that once had lived, or they could be in cryo state. That means that they may not be dead. They could be in a freezer somewhere in a cryo state. So they're just moved. They just transfer the human consciousness to that person's clone body. The body itself can live for about 300 years or more, and that was their goal. They offered that to people if they wanted to live longer. You don't age. You stay pretty well an average age of 40-ish, the longest or the most, but you don't age if you're cloned. But when anybody hits you, you sound like as if you're slapping plastic. So the material on that person's skin is not the same. You can respond, you can act, you can cry, you can play all those roles, but you're like, again, that clone is carrying the human consciousness of the person. But again, they won't the clone will not have anything evil in it, because it's carrying consciousness. It was not taught to be worse than what it is. So if anybody comes back as a clone, they have no how do you say it? Nothing satanic. Let's use that word. Nothing with all the bad things they once may have done in the past. So they're basically making clones to make them positive, even if they decide to live long, or if they choose to want to live longer. I do know. I mean, there's someone here who says, wrote to me, and it said to me, human cloning is like the invasion of the body snatchers, except you don't point at the non-cloned eye, or non-cloned, and yes, but you do experience your consciousness transfer while you sleep. So basically, you can be sleeping and they can clone you. Quite interesting how that one turned out, eh? You can be asleep. If you want to get cloned, you don't have to be awake. They can actually transfer you and make a new clone without you knowing about it. And you can next thing you know, there's 2 bodies or 3 bodies or 4 bodies. Okay. Okay. Coming up, let's see what we got here. There are protests all across the world. I've been watching all types of videos, people sending me. And also, if you guys want to know anything what's going on, I have 2 pages on, one on Facebook, and I have one on Telegram. Go to Telegram. It's much easier. If you haven't joined Telegram, join Telegram. Look for me on there. I have a page called True North, Strong and Free, and have a look of all of the information that's been shared. Now, some people may feel that they're a little overwhelmed by what they look at and what they read and what they've learned, whether it's on video or you have to read. You got to do your due diligence. You got to do your own research too as well. And I've been doing this for a long, long time. I mean, a long time. Before I go any further, too, I always like to thank my good friend Johnny Enoch, and I will say why. I also want to thank the UFO, the guys up in the UFO conference, the guys up in Laughlin, Nevada, Bob Brown, Bob Brown, and all them. A couple years ago, I did a presentation about the Anunnaki and the 9-foot tall beings, and they recorded it while I was doing the presentation, and they were selling the DVDs. And then for, I would say, about 2 years, and then they decided to put it online. So now it's on YouTube. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I am on YouTube. And let's see here. I will copy that, and I'll drop it in this page here onto YouTube. And you guys, if you have not seen it, have a watch. It's worth your while. There's over 58,000 followers on there so far. So I want to thank Johnny and them and the people that actually have placed it on there on site. It's never expected them to put it on there. And I mean, normally they were trying to sell videos, but again, since then, and it's been on for a couple of weeks, but since then I've got major calls emails, phone calls, people saying, Derek, can I talk to you more about this? Derek, can I talk to you more? Oh, it happened to me too, or similar thereof. And it's crazy. There's so many people now are relating to my presentation, some parts of it that's may related to them. So it makes a whole lot of sense, right? So Catherine saying, yesterday I walked in a medical clinic in Fort St. John, and they have brown paper bags with synthetic heroin, cocaine, and fentanyl on the rack at the entrance. I'm not sure if it's what. Okay. Let me say that. Okay, I know what this is all about. Trudeau wants to pass a bill, or is considering passing a bill. I'm not going to say Trudeau, but our government, liberals, they want to pass a bill that all drugs, all illegal drugs, anybody who is actually selling them will no longer be charged. Anybody who is using them illegally will no longer be charged. They're going to make it where it's a person can do drugs all they want. They want to pass that bill and have it happen. And I'm going like, why have they decided not to make it illegal? Because they want more people to DIE. It's called depopulation. That's what Bill and Melinda Gates had planned on doing since 2006. That's why their center is called the Bill and Melinda Gates Depopulation Center. That's if they weren't going to get people to use the jabs to depopulate, to sterilize you to depopulate, to create blood clots and heart attacks to depopulate, they were going to say, well, you know what? Drugs are no longer illegal, and anybody who's a drug dealer won't get charged. Anybody who's using the drugs won't get charged. Let them die. And that's exactly what they're doing. Our Canadian government, our Liberal government, is passing this bill. Exactly. It is a huge target on the teens and young adults. They don't care. They're making it where, hey, you have free will. Why do you think Trudeau had passed a bill that anybody who's 10 years old, okay, a child who's 10 years old can now, or an adult can now take that 10-year-old and have that child as a pedophile, and you'll get that pedophile won't get charged. They said if the child allows it, that it can happen, that no parent can no parent can charge the person for taking the child and force. Like, are you guys kidding me? This is how crazy our world is getting. Think about it. Think about it, guys. They're trying to wake you up. They're trying to find this. They're trying to make you stand up and fight for your kids. They're trying to make you stand up and fight for your rights. And that's why they're coming up with all kinds of stupid ideas to have you not have any rights. They want you to keep on walking. The more you walk away, the worse it gets. Okay? Like, yeah, Catherine says, and just try disciplining your kids these days and see what happens to you. Exactly. You can try and discipline your kids. Guess what the kids do? They learn from their school teachers. Oh, just call social services and you lose your kid. The kid, oh, I'll be a foster child. I don't care. I'll be a foster child. Guess what? I got young ladies call me up that are mothers, foster parents, or people that want to be adoptive parents, and they themselves too are losing the kids because they can't adopt them. And what social services is doing? Social services actually are selling the children out of province, which is illegal. It's a federal offense. They're selling the kids for $10,000 to other non-related families, and they're getting away with it. And they've been doing that for a long time. I can prove it. And yet you try to confront MCFD. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And they hire, what they do, if you want to get a child, you want to adopt a child, and then they're trying to make sure you don't get that child, but they will hire 3 lawyers. MCFD, the Ministry of Social Services, will act, Child and Family Services, they will actually hire 3 lawyers to come into court at the same time, go against your lawyer, and knock you down before you even get started. Next thing you know, that child's gone, off out of province, sold. Because even the bosses will say to the person who actually has adopted the child out, get a bonus in their paycheck. And it's been heard out loud. Well, thank you for selling the child, so you get a bonus in your paycheck. This is in Canada. I call that illegal. That is still child trafficking, folks. That is human trafficking. And I will let people know, I'll let MCFD know this. For whatever and however you think you're going to get away with it, whoever's responsible for doing this, the military are coming for you too. Whoever's doing this, whoever says they've got to go and think they're going to get away with lawyers, your lawyers won't last long, because whomever you hired, even as a lawyer, they're done. They're going to military. They're going to go right directly to Gitmo as well. They're taking a one-way trip too, because they aided and abetted an assistance to get you to sell a child. Okay? I'm not kidding you. This is happening right now. And you guys think it's, oh no, they're pretty good people. There are some really great social care workers there that really want to care, and then there's ones that will rather try to make some money behind their back. There's some bad bosses that want to make extra money, so they're willing to sell a child or two. And I know I've known about this since 2005. That's how far back it goes, even further. They've been doing it for a long time. How do you think my grandmother ended up from a reservation in 1883 to be sold to a family as a servant, and they got paid selling her? She wasn't taken away from a family because the family wasn't good. They took her from a family so they could make money by selling her to another family who are rich. So she said she was a forced servant from the age of 10 to the age of 25, and then she went on her own because they couldn't hold her back anymore. She was First Nations, East Coast. It's been going on for a long time, folks. Behind your backs, in front of you, and everybody stood there going, oh, so there was not just one type of race that was stolen away. 2 races, maybe 3 races stolen away, sold. Think about it. It's crazy. But that's what they do. They've gotten away with it. And it ain't going to happen anymore because, like I said before, anybody that works for the government, anybody that thinks they're going to get away with by doing all this, I mean, I know a lot. Even with Robert Picton, Picton Farm, I was actually helping the police help solve the missing girls, women, children. That went there. That was my job. Because that was my job to help find missing people. As a medium, that's what I was doing. All these children, yeah, thank you, Catherine. All these children's groups and clubs, again, if there's truth in it that these kids went missing after, if they weren't placed to where they're supposed to be, and if there's talk of these children actually saying that they were touched in a wrong manner, those people are gone too. They're taken away. Why do you think this is not over until September? Because once you have that final day, that final month before the end of this year, whoever gets scooped up, that's it. Because they're going to be picking up all those people that's left. You're gone. Tribunal, military, not federal, not provincial, military. You either do life in prison or you're taken away and you never come back. That's the way it works. So, okay. Now, I laughed when I saw this. So scientists have in Canada an entirely new variant that they may be calling it this month. It's called the Castridoscam virus. Do you get it? So basically, scientists have in Canada an eventually entirely new variant that they may be calling it the Castridoscam virus. Okay. So we have to watch real careful, folks, but at times when you see people trying to tell you stories, or like even though if they've dealt with scary issues or issues that you may think that that's not good. How do you say this? Do your due diligence of your research first before you believe everything. And I'll tell you why, because there was one time I got caught in something I thought was true to find out later that it wasn't. But again, even the best got fooled. And it wasn't recent. It was a long, long, long time ago. But it had nothing to do with, you know, it was something that I thought was going to be done, and it didn't happen yet. Which basically, as far as I understand it, we were supposed to be over this whole thing by April, May. Then we would have all our freedoms back and the whole lockdown, everything one more time, and that would be it. But it went longer, and I couldn't figure out how come it was going longer, and I kept asking questions. Why is it taking so long? Because they're still underground. They're still dealing with the there's still more dumbs that they have to finish off cleaning up, and it's still going to take a while because they found way more dumbs in South Africa, they found more in the Ukraine, they found more in other areas. They're still not there, so they're still working on getting them all cleaned up, so it's taking time. We might not understand or think about it, but there are a lot of military alliance soldiers that have given their lives for us by the thousands, and have lost their lives trying to protect and bring back these kids home. We don't think about that. All we think about is, well, at least they're doing their job and they're going to find them. No, these guys lose their lives because the people that are stealing them away are shooting back. They are making sure they don't get caught. So a lot of these guys, and it's been known, my understanding is that the bad guys are even setting up explosives, and if anybody tries to walk through, boom, those are triggered. Boom, they don't. It's almost like being in Korea. How we used to set things up, and next thing you know, boom, the guys were trapped. Or not just Korea, but Vietnam or other countries that you fought against. In Germany, they had all kinds of triggers using cords, coils, whatever was available. That's what they did. And these guys still, a lot of these men and women lost their lives. And many times I would see a person, there's a lady that would talk about all certain actors and actresses, famous people that actually passed away. But yet, in the end of her film, she would play these other soldiers, and she would put photographs of other soldiers that had lost their lives. Didn't say where, but recently lost their lives, and she put them on that film through YouTube to honor them as well, because they gave their lives up for us. And it's not a war against the world or a certain country. It's a war against the dumb. It's a war against these evil people. Basically, again, they're trying to protect us, and we need to be aware of this. People have actually said too, like, why do you trust the Canadian Armed Forces? The Canadian Armed Forces are doing their job too. There's some special forces in Canadian Armed Forces. I got friends that are part of that. Again, there are special elite forces or alliance forces around, And yes, elites you don't want. Some people, like on wrestling, and on TV, they call themselves the elites. Well, that's not in favor of. It should be alliance instead. But again, there's always going to be used one name against the other name, better or worse. So, okay. Let's see. Catherine just got home from doing 4 straight days and nights of respite with 5 teenagers. Let's just say I educated them on trust. Feel better knowing that I might have helped them a bit as they got the truth. Good for them. Good for you. Again, kids, they're like a lot of the youth need to learn and understand that it's hard, and when they grow a little older and they're going, oh, now I understand what you're talking about. Okay, so human trafficking, folks, there's well over 100, what I've been told now, plus over 150 billion children and women. 150 billion children and women. It's a capital B that have been taken, and they're being brought as much as they can to bring home. So like I said before, this is not as whatever. Let's see up here. Okay, Krista Freeland. She's Trudeau's right hand, left hand person, switching hands. She is a Ukrainian spy and has always been, and she works for, and she's been known to work for George Soros Jr. for a lot of, well, she worked for George Soros Sr. and then Jr. She's also connected with having to know or personally know the president of the Ukraine. So don't trust Crystal Freeland as you think you should. She's, I mean, can I prove that she's a Ukrainian spy? Yes. Because the alliance sent that out and said that she was, and I take the word for it. So we are in the middle of something here, folks, that that you may not realize. Now, one thing I want to point out too, in Portugal, how do I say this part? In Portugal, there was a story about 3 or 4 kids that actually had seen Mother Mary, her spirit of Mother Mary, in the light, and they went to this hill and they would talk to her all the time. This was back in 1917, and the town was called Fatima. And what Mother Mary had done is she sent out 3 messages that was important for others to know. She'll give the message to the children. 3 messages, and the one completed message, which makes a whole lot of sense. The 3rd message, what I find that's going to be and it did come to fruition. It did happen, and it was the oldest girl in the group that actually finally said it. So the 3rd secret did come to pass by Mother Mary at Fatima, and this prediction was that Pope Francis, who did get executed with so he was taken away and was tried. So Pope Francis did get taken away, and this is from Mother Mary. That was her message. If anybody's asking if Pope Francis is alive, no, that's an actor, folks. That's an actor. Sorry. All the people went down there to expect him to apologize to you. That's not even him. The real one would never, ever apologize to you. Ever. Because he was never to apologize. So why do you think he wore army boots? Like I told people before, why was he wearing army boots? No Pope wears army boots. If you looked at some of his videos where people are expecting to get apologies, wearing army boots. Listen to me, army boots. So who was the actor wearing the army boots? That was a hint to all of you folks to see the truth. Even all of the cardinals, anybody who actually was standing next to the Pope, were all wearing army boots. They were actors. Then also it popped in one part he was actually talking and he was speaking Italian, and then there was supposed to be a person translating in the background, and the words did not match from Italian from Italian to English did not match in one way. And he also threw his left leg over the side of the chair, like the arm of the chair, as if he was like didn't care. And that's the thing, folks. You got to watch carefully, right? But nobody does that. Nobody watches carefully. That all they do is just think, oh well, he apologized. No, he didn't. He has no intention to. Okay. According to Catherine, says we also need to keep in mind that all of these world leaders, justice departments, RCMP, municipal police, medical associations, child care associations, etc., are the puppets come from the families who are also puppets involved in it. Well, you know what? Not every RCMP is the bad guy. Okay, they all are aware of this. The ones that are around now, there are some RCMP that were forced to step down for their position already a long time ago, about a year or so ago, forced to step down, or they would be walked away. And they had a long talk with them, the ones that were not so good. So there were quite a few officers they cleaned it up. The officers that I know right now are the good guys. So what you may have known about the past is not that anymore. Same with the officers, the city police. They're all the city police that we know now, where I live, they cleaned it up. So anybody who's been, like, I went through all the files. They cleaned up the files completely. So the alliance came in and cleaned up all the files because now everything's been done. That's all done. Oh, yes. One of my friends actually said that he did a test and they told him that he was positive. That's not no PCR test tells you the truth, folks. All your PCR tests are always false. So don't trust it. If you got a cold, you had a flu. Here's what happens, folks. When you get really, really exhaustively tired, and if you don't take good care of yourself, what happens? You feel like runny nose or tired, or you feel like as if it feels like a cold. It's just your immune system's low, right? And so basically, no PCR test can prove the fact that you actually had anything. And I've still listened to people still saying to me, "Oh, they told me I got COVID. They told me I got COVID." I said, "Did it come out positive? Well, do you feel sick? No. Well, then why do you believe it?" They are falsifying those PCR tests now. They're making sure that you get the jab. That's all they're doing. They're falsifying the tests. So be careful. Let's see here. Oh, med beds. Yes. One more thing before we go into the readings part. Med beds. I got a message that if my wife wants to, you shook my chair, guys. I felt it. If my wife wanted to use this particular med bed, that will benefit her. And so if she wanted to sign up, she can. And so I told them about her health, and they said to her, well, if she wants to be part of it, she'll have to pay for the registry, just registry. Anything else on top of that, it's all free. So, and these med beds are actually on the military bases. So they are coming out now. In British Columbia, they're coming out. They're all over now, Canada. So it's a matter of if you want to sign up. If you guys if you want the email address, I can send you guys the email address and have a chat with them yourself. So that's all I can say on this matter. Can't say any more on it because, again, if anybody that needs to deal with themselves and they want to talk to the people regarding the med beds, I can send you the email address. Just write to me on the Facebook. You can send me a message and I'll send you the email. Okay, and you can have a chat with them yourself. So let's see here. Oh, yes. Ultra terrestrials. Time traveling. Yes. 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 If you want to, there's such thing as called extraterrestrial, and there's ultra terrestrial. We are the ultra terrestrials. We can actually make changes in our future. We can make changes as a time traveler. We can be time travelers, and we can time travel in our meditations. Um, so we're called ultra terrestrials. Now you can actually work with your Akashic records, and if you want to adjust them to the point where you don't want to be sick anymore, or you want to better yourself, or to bring more better finances for yourself, more stability, however how you want it, that it can happen. So if you want to learn how to become an ultra terrestrial being, a person as you are, um, again, all you have to really do, folks, is you have to visualize the word and ask for to place yourself into what we call the fifth dimension. And it's kind of funny how they sound like it sounds like a band's name. But the fifth dimension is where we are. We go to where we want to adjust ourselves. So if we're having a hardship in life, we want to do better. We want to see ourselves do better better in life. We'd better ourselves, right? And so we can go to the fifth dimension, and we see ourselves making some plans and changes. You can adjust and change your Akashic records. The reason why sometimes we have hardships and why we see ourselves in the hardships is because we let ourselves go there. We didn't, we were thinking, okay, well, we'll just breeze it through. Not everything's all breezing through, right? When am I going to be talking about the Giants again? What, the baseball team? um, I'll probably bringing them up in another. I'm supposed to be thinking about doing another presentation, possibly next year, at another UFO conference. But I got to do more because I didn't talk about everything. I just gave you. The first presentation I did was give people an idea of the knowledge and what I experienced, but I didn't break it down to define what was shown to me, like specifics. So I've learned more about it, and I still got it here, haven't forgotten. I'm still showing more. Like sometimes what they'll do is they'll say, "Do you remember this? Do you remember that?" And then I have to go, "Oh yeah, right, forgot," because they they have a tendency of, look, what they do at times. If you don't want to remember things, after you've been with them, they'll just say, "Okay, what do you want to take out?" And this, and this. But now it's not anymore. If you don't have to be. You're no longer abducted. You're no longer taken, unexpectedly. There's a whole new group of people now that they can come to you in your dream time, and they can make adjustments with you without even having to take you out of your house. Because there's actually portals now that can just take you from. There's a portal in your home. The portal shows up, comes out, and shows up in your house. Boom, you're in the portal, and you're there. Then you bring it back in your room. Boom, you're done. You absorb it through the wall, back in, back out. So it's not like it used to be where they go up and you're outside and you're on the ship. That they've advanced so much. So it's a lot different. Let's see. On Sunday, from Mick Flair, says, on Sunday, I barely touched the swab to the inside rim of the nostrils, and all three times no insertion on as instructed, and all three times I know. No matter what, don't trust them. They're basically, let me tell you something, my friend. Your swab is already pre-done. They've actually already, they make it up. It was proven. Someone that's manufacturing those swabs are already placed the C already on the tip of the swab, and then what happens is when it comes up, it's already mixed with your own stuff. And, oh, okay, here, it's already on it. It was already on the stick. Okay, it's been proven already because one person was absolutely healthy once they had the swab done. So they decided to take like one person took some tap water and the swab and popped it in the little unit. It tested positive. So why from tap water? Okay, think about it. Why from tap water? Why from taking that swab, rubbing against a cactus plant? One person had a cactus plant rubbed against it, put in the thing, and it tested positive. No matter what it is, it's not accurate. So trust me, guys, your PCR test is inaccurate. It has never been correct, ever. It was the person that created that PCR test was just joking around to make it look good, to make himself some money. But in truth, he actually admitted after that it was never perfect. He said it was never meant to be. It was just a joke, and yet they took that as a real machine. Those PCR tests are the very same ones that are used to pregnancy test. They were the same ones. They just reshaped it and put a thing in there. I mean, can you visualize a woman take a PCR test and pee on it? Next thing you know, oh, I'm having a baby. Oh, by the way, you got C2. Think about it. Which you don't. Now, Elon Musk. Apparently, someone's saying that Elon Musk is not going to buy the company. Apparently, he said he changed his mind. He said he was tired of all the crap. Well, from the town that I once lived in, folks, in Alberta, I can tell you exactly where this girl came from, the one he married, who she calls herself Grimes, Grimes. I came from that very same town. Not came from that town, but I lived there from 1970 to 1976 on the farm. And I went to school in this town called Didsbury. We used to call it Deadsbury because it's dead in that town. But Didsbury, Alberta. And there was an ice dancer by the name of Karen Garissino who married Elon Musk. And that's her aunt is Claire Boissier, who's actually Métis, by the way. And is Claire Boissier, who is a singer and artist, also known as Grimes. So Elon Musk, sorry, he did not marry Karen, but Elon Musk, he married her aunt, Karen Garissino, introduced Elon Musk to Claire Boissier, which is singer and artist, is also known as Grimes. So it's a small town where I lived not in town, but outside of town. But it's kind of a small little world, having known that Elon Musk actually married a girl from this small town, and I'm actually from that very same area. So she came from Alberta. Thought I'd share that with you guys. See how much I do my research? And that was luck on that one, because there was a guy that was doing a fellow that was doing an autobiography or a biography of the town online. You just type in the word Didsbury and you'll listen to the audio recording of it and the video recording of it, and they talk about her, that Elon Musk found her, married her, took her away, went to the States and got rich and whole 9 yards. So, man, spirits are going nuts in this room. Wow, they're making sure they want to come through. So guess what, folks? Lines are open. 360-566-2875. If you guys want to call in to ask any questions and or you want to get a reading, you're more welcome to ask a question. Please call in 360-566-2875. I will put it on I think I'll put it on my, move this over here and I'll pop it in both rooms. That'll take long. Area code 780. Who am I speaking to? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? I can barely hear it. All I hear is click, 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 click. Can you hear me? Hello?
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 Oh, Damn it.
Who am I speaking to? Hello? Call back. That's funny. He was saying something and then he hung up. So let's see here. Just drop the number in there. That should be it. Yep. And I'll drop it into here. 3, 6. There we go. So if you guys are going to have a question you want to ask regarding what's going on recently, if you're not too sure about something, give me a call. Or if you want to get a quick reading regarding a question, let me know. The lines are open right now because spirits kick around this back room here like crazy. I can see them running around, which doesn't happen too often. The only time they start to hang around is because there's a reason why they're here. Because they're reading here, when they're moving around, they move back this way. They go back and forth. So that means it's quite an active night. That's what they do. And it's not dust. People say, oh, it's dust. No, it's not. These guys don't come in and through here's what dust does. If dust comes in the air and it falls, right? They're going through the curtains, back curtain and come back from the curtain forward, So I will let spirit know, guys, if you want to come through the curtain, show these guys, show yourselves around here, step in the room. Because someone in this room here tonight shook my chair, the back of my chair, because I could feel them when I was talking to you guys. And they were going, shake, 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 try and get my attention. So that's why I was trying to talk. I was probably because I was talking about the med beds. So that's why. Okay, so. And write that down. So if you have any questions you want to ask, you're more than welcome to. There we go, right across the room. Boom. That's what they do, guys. May not show up too often in Facebook, but it does a lot in YouTube because my main camera back here is showing it more prominently than because you're doing double screen. You're doing a double look. So it maybe come through the camera here on my own phone, but you can see it constantly. Now, who are they? We're asking. Area code 780.
Hey, Derek, how's it going?
Good.
This is Travis here, calling from Alberta.
Hey,
I
Travis.
figured I'd give a call.
Okay, cool. So what's happening in your area? Is there lots of wind, weather, clear, warm, cold?
Yeah, no, we had yesterday was a rough storm, hail and all sorts of rain and thunder, and
Wow.
you named it pretty. You're on the dot with that. So
Yeah, we had that here too. Had everything. Right, all day today was like just major rain coming down hard, and everybody's asking, why is it happening? Why come we're getting so much heavy rain? Gee, I wonder who's controlling that rain. It's not always.
Sorry, what?
I wonder who's controlling all that rain. So it's not always God,
Right.
guys. We do have cloud seeding, but they're doing it for a reason because there must be something they have to do to flush people out underground.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Flush, as in toilet flush.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. No. I've also too, like, I've noticed a lot of UFOs like to use that technology, cloaking technology and stuff like that. They hide in the clouds, and so I think that's how they also move a lot of their ships too. They hide, they'll cover the clouds, the thunder clouds, dark clouds, so it covers the sky, and they can move their ships around.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's what I figured anyway.
Tom says, weather, war, fiends, anyone. Yeah. You know what? Someone actually sent me a picture. And they showed me a bunch of red light streaks going across the skies. And then I looked at Gene Code's page, where he had the very same picture on his, and he answered his page, and he said there's spaceships actually in the sky at war with each other, and they're shooting their rays at each other.
Oh, wild. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they're actually space wars up there, and we think that those red lights means like a ship, but it's not. They're actually shooting each other. So yeah, they're going on the sky. Not that could be between our people and someone else, because we don't forget, folks, we have one called Space Force. So Space Force could be the ones that are out there trying to defend this world, which makes a whole lot of sense.
Oh yeah, yes, for sure it does. No.
Yep. Okay, all that talk. Yeah, Tom Lynch goes, all that call, no talk. Your head. Okay. Your headbands are glorious. Thank you very much. Yeah, they're hanging up there. I got my so how is your
video? Oh, sorry.
How is your art doing?
I had got a few videos of like the weather storm, and just like you said, booming in the clouds, and they're not sure like where this extra light coming from. And when there's like no thunder being heard or no lightning being shown, so it's just like I can see that war in the clouds. It does make a lot of sense.
Well, there's a young lady that I know of that I've watched her videos for a while now, just the off time, but she'll actually has a certain camera that watches the sun. And actually it must be one of the satellites that's watching the sun. And she says that they're watching spaceships come from out of the sun. Like they're actually flying from out within the center of the sun and towards the sky, like into space, which is kind of funky. I can see it from the moon or planet, but from the sun, like wow, those ships must be able to handle the great amount of heat coming from that sun. Or maybe the sun looks like it's actually very fiery and hot, but it may not be as what they say it is. It could be a planet of its own.
Right.
Yeah,
because I've seen a video where this guy was showing clouds, and it looked like rain was falling on the sun, the surface of the sun. Yeah. So I could see that. I could see that being the case too.
Yeah, this is getting crazy.
Because a lot of the things that we're told is disinformation, like especially when it comes to the education of our own planet and our solar system. So, for them to say a lot of these, like outlandish things and tell us like, oh, the sun's so hot, no one would ever, survive it. I could see that being the case too. But at the same time, I've seen those the pictures, and I should say the research videos of these like large cube-sized ships coming out of the sun. I've seen that, and it's just mind-boggling. Like, what are these ships? Are these globes made of? Right, these dark cubes and globe ships that are flying out of the sun. And just it's amazing.
Thomas in the chat room says, Thomas chat room says, Gina Maria Colvin Hill. Big shout out to her. Yeah, she's the one. That's when I was watching. They sent me her video. She's got some pretty interesting things, interesting videos to watch for, and she'll sit there all night and watch it just to see what's going on. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've also taken like the photos I've taken of UFOs in the sky. We'll run them through a little. It's like a little analyzer that will see if there's any texture to it, right? And a lot of these UFOs will take different shapes. Some of them are cubes, some of them will be orbs, and then. Like I said, but most of the time it will just like resemble a large glowing light in the sky, and you're like, oh, okay, this is interesting. But when you run it through a little data analyzer, and they come out as little different shapes all the time, almost like they're morphing. And that's what I've been finding out too, is like they can also change sizes and different shapes and whatnot. Certain ships, so they could literally
well, didn't you
appear or reappear.
Didn't you have a photograph of yourself? You sent it to me. It was a photograph of yourself. There was actually an area in Alberta that you went to that was known for being a hot spot for extraterrestrial or UFOs. What was that? Where was that area? Because remember you mentioned there that was well known there.
Oh yeah. The St. Paul. St.
Paul. Okay.
The UFO landing. Yes.
Okay. St. Paul UFO landing. Yeah. Okay.
And then also out here though, like where I've been seeing it was like around the lake area, because I've noticed that they've been enjoying a lot of the lake, and also like I should say like the there's like an Air Force base like 40 kilometers, you know what I mean? So I can see them being attracted to that too. So
well, yeah, most of the time if
But,
it's Air Force base, that means they could be working together.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, it could be
So-
also maybe some of their high tech,
Yeah.
Hypersonic drone or something like that they've been using or experimenting with,
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, anything's possible. See, most people don't realize in Canada we do have. I mean, Johnny Enoch and myself, we were doing some research on different locations that are hotspots with UFO sightings, and Vancouver Island or Victoria Island has been well known. Has a well known case of underground UFO bases, and apparently the military are involved with it, and they kept it a secret for the longest time. And anytime anybody's ever mentioned about it, well, in one way, they put a scare tactic on you. So if the military finds out you've been investigating that site location, because you can go there. I mean, it's all like it's not being used now. You can walk over there, but sometimes if you're getting too nosy, then they'll just say, hey, take off, disappear, like stay away. But because Johnny himself actually is a major investigator for UFO sightings, and because he's done a lot of TV series himself, he's done the TV series Gaia. He's doing a new one of his own right now, and he's actually done a few other TV shows. So he's getting well known, and Johnny has been doing major investigating for, I would say, a good 10 plus years or so on UFO sightings here in Canada. And I've already sent him down to a few places. Some here in British Columbia that were hotspots that most people don't know, that even the towns themselves made it a hotspot where they were using. It's almost like being in Area 51. When they actually have a restaurant in Area 51, they did the same thing in another small town here in BC. They gave it that same feature with a UFO on their sign. You come into town, and they were having these guys build a spaceship to look like the Star Trek spaceship, and it was an ice cream parlor. They had a museum all set up, a large museum set up, and there was all kinds of photographs of UFOs in the sky and different things that happened. So many people in that town actually were abducted and disappeared for 3 or 4 days. The next thing they're back in their house again, not even know that that they were gone that long. So, it's here in BC, it has happened, and yet they're not telling anybody. Now, apparently recently, about 3 or 4 years ago, they found an underground cave, which is so huge, and it never was in existence at the time. No one knew it was even there until someone on the farmland accidentally came across it. And when they went to go in there, somebody showed up coming out, and the military showed up and said, you can't come in here. And the guy's going, excuse me? And they got the town so convinced that if anybody decided to enter into that cave, they would go to jail. This is in Canada, folks. This is in British Columbia. This is in northern BC. Towards not northern BC, but towards heading out towards, let's see, the closest, quickest, past barrier. Well, it's up. The town's called Clearwater, but they're just between. There's Clearwater and there's a small town just before that. That's where the whole UFO sighting is, or sightings well known there. So, and there are a few people have been up there investigating it. I was investigating it. Johnny went and investigated it, but the town folk now today don't want to talk about it because they're told by some officers showed up and said, okay, stop talking about it, leave it alone, walk away. So now they're being told there's consequences. So now, before they used to advertise about it, and they would, that was main. Basically, it became a main feature of creating tourism. Then suddenly, somebody who knew person came into town, decided to stop this from happening. No more UFO information sites. Everything was all shut down, and no one was ever supposed to talk about it ever again. Why? Because something was happening there that whoever these people were, investigators or UFO investigators, were doing, like other people that were trying to find out where all these locations were. I guess some people were getting too close to the real truth, and they knew they were getting too close to the area that really was active, possibly UFOs in that cave, underground cave. So, which made a whole lot of sense, right? or even sometimes there's other, I'm not going to say UFOs because they come out of the water. There's a different name for them. They come out from under the water, out of the lakes, and then they fly into the sky because people have seen them there as well. So in your area, Travis, I know, because I talked to about 3 or 4 people in your area up in the Sucker Creek and Drift Pile area. Some people have actually told me that they themselves have been taken on the ships. They were abducted.
Yeah.
And examined. So this is not the first, even for yourself, calling in, but there are others that actually had said, and some of them actually took it very traumatically, and some of them could not handle it. I guess it really psychologically messed with their heads to the point that a couple of the people actually committed suicide on account of it. It traumatized them because the doctors told them they were crazy and they gave them medication. They kept saying, "You guys, you're not giving me any answers." Unfortunately, I wasn't there on time to meet the people because by that time they're already passed away. If I'd have known, say if I was called in a lot sooner and if I mentioned UFOs, I was a researcher, that sort of thing, they would have come to me and then they'll say, they probably would have still been here, right? So it's unfortunate, but that's what happens because they're trying to, I guess, what certain governments or certain groups of people are trying to do is trying to still keep people away from investigating this stuff. And yet now, since Trump passed a bill, or Trump passed I don't even call it a bill, but that all information from all UFOs is to be released. So because now they have Space Force, they have to release it all. So now we're all beginning to get some really cool information. So it's all coming forward now. We're getting more stuff coming, and there's more people showing up now, coming to UFO conferences. Those that we always want, that we've seen on TV, that we wanted them to come in and talk about, what happened, their experiences of investigating. And a lot of these are American ex-military. So it's gonna be in the next couple of years a lot of great. Well, even not even a couple of years. By next year, you're going to end up experiencing, folks. Possibly there's going to be a fake UFO invasion. So just be aware of that. I want to let you know this, folks, a fake UFO invasion, because basically it is done by CGI. We're giving people pre-warning. CGI.
Yeah.
Right. So Travis, do you know anybody that has dealt with that similar experience of possibly abduction or examined?
Like it being examination, like being brought aboard and all that.
Aboard the ship and all that. Do you know any people in that area have talked about it themselves?
Well, see, when we talk about like examinations and being brought aboard, it's been more or less like more of my medicine, like the medicine people.
Yeah.
Like they said they were brought aboard and the ship, and they were showing like all these people like they're asking like how come you can't like they're asking them showing them across the world like across Canada and showing all the people like on the streets and stuff. They're asking the medicine men to help these people and stuff like that. Like it's more or less about healing visions that they've come into these people's lives with, and I've been seeing a lot of good visuals and stuff like that in my dreams and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Of these different races and beings and stuff, and a lot of interesting experiences I could say. But as in traumatic experiences where somebody's been taken and they're they have went through some horrifying experience. None. I haven't heard of nothing like that. In terms of any horrible things or anything like that. No, it's been always a real grand experience. Almost connects where it's where you're whoa, that really went down. But I could see why people would say they think they're crazy, because it's something so spectacular, something so beyond, it's so extraordinary that they just they can only take it as themselves being crazy. And when they try to tell their family doesn't listen, and can't even stand around them for 5 minutes because I'm not gonna sit here and listen to this because that's that brainwashing. Everybody is brainwashed to think that and ridicule right away.
Yeah.
And people are still awakening, and that's what's so great about this time, is that everybody's starting to slowly wake up, and they're starting to realize and see the programming, and they're starting to see these things in the shows and TV shows, how they joke about it right in front of everybody's eyes, and it's so beautiful, that people are starting to take this power back for themselves, and visualization, becoming more self-aware, and I don't know. I think it's a very beautiful awakening, a very beautiful time for this whole topic to come about again.
Travis, can I ask you?
I'm proud to be a part of it.
Travis, can I ask you what part is where's your band from? Which area?
Sorry, what was that?
Your band? What area are you?
Oh, I'm from northern Alberta. We're the Neowin, Newup. We're the Cree people, the four directions.
Okay. Yeah, because basically.
But we're from.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, like I said, we're from here, the northern part of Alberta. Like I said, around the west side of Lesser Slave Lake. So
yeah,
out here, like I said, we get a lot of visuals at night, like not just the Aurora Borealis or the one space station that flies over. I'm like laughing because there's like actual interjecting orbs flying over each other. Like I'm seeing all this, right? And I'm just like, wow, I'm being, just amazed by this. And like sometimes they'll fly by real slow, and then I'll be like, power up, and all of a sudden just a flash, just, and then they'll just like then zoom off, man. They're like, it's like it's like almost every night when you go out there and look, you see them. If you really spot them, you know what I mean? Like you spend a couple hours out there,
Yeah, I remember when I was down there up in Drift Pile, First Nations area, and I was visiting one of my friends, and when I was coming in from Swan River up that road, and then I was coming towards Drift Pile, but as I'm coming in, I could see Aurora Borealis, from just as I'm getting closer, you could see the green sky of the Aurora Borealis. And as I turned left towards Drift Pile, and then when I got to my friend's place, and I walked outside, and I was, hi, how are you? Big hugs and whatever have you. And I walked indoors, didn't even spend not even 2-3 minutes, and he calls me out outside, Derek, you need to see this. So I walked outside with him on the deck, and we looked up in the sky, and the Aurora Borealis was right above us, right? He said and as I'm watching, both of us witnessed the center of the Aurora Borealis opening up, and we saw everyone's faces, like people's faces, relatives that both are connected to me and him. They're past and they're above us, and we see their faces moving as if all you see is their heads, and they're looking, and they are all looking down at us, both him and I. And he looks at me and he goes, oh, my father passed away. I have to go to the hospital. So he heads out to Slave Lake to the hospital while I'm looking up, and I can see my mom. My mom was inside that Aurora Borealis. She looked out at me and she smiled. And then I said, thanks, Mom. I really appreciate you being here. And then next thing you know, the Aurora Borealis closed. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I mean, it even did the Aurora Borealis even opened up for us to see. Why did it follow me to there? Or why did it follow why the Aurora Borealis follow us? People don't realize Aurora Borealis is not just because it's called Northern Lights. It's because it was supposed to show us that we can see the other side of the veil, right? And the Aurora Borealis can also show, and people don't realize it, that the Aurora Borealis could also be part of the veil. That makes a whole lot of sense. Absolutely a whole lot of sense. So next time, as I'm actually hinting towards Travis, next time you watch Aurora Borealis, see if it opens up for you and see if there's any relatives you want to talk to.
Oh yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing. I enjoy watching them, and I'm not like, I'm just saying, like, because like when people say, oh, are you really seeing orbs or UFOs in the sky? Are you sure you're seeing that, or is it not just gas clouds, or what I mean, like reflection of light in the sky caused by natural gas? Like they say that kind of thing, right? So that's why I'm just like bringing that up, as because like I really am sure that I am seeing aliens.
Yeah, no, seriously.
But like there's one instance though, it was like still daytime, and I have the video, and the orb is flying by, and it stopped just above the tree line, like it's not close, but it stopped above, like in space.
Yeah.
And then it continued to fly by, like away, like it disappeared. And I was like, all right, yeah, space stations don't stop. That's a given right there. So like
makes
there's
sense.
like some of these times, and they're actually trying to acknowledge and show me, like they're like, yeah, look, we're stopping here. This is for real.
Yeah.
And that's when I started like getting into all this and started like researching all this wild, like, you know, all this like stuff, and you're like, whoa, all right. So you know, like, at first people try to say that it's all like a conspiracy and all that, but then you start seeing all the factual, you know, government documents, all the articles and all the people, like whistleblowers, and you're just like, wow. So they told us it's all not real, programmed us to say it's not real, but really they're the ones believing in it behind the scenes. Like, they're the ones testing all these psychics out on the government, using psychic warfare on each other, and, you know, like, they're the ones trying to refurbish fallen UFO technology from the skies, and, like, you know, using on each other. And it's just like, you know, it's at that point where you're just kind of like, you're like, okay, so yeah, all right. you just literally lied to all of us, and now you're you know what I mean? You know, you're going to tell us it's all real. Now it's real, right? Like they're having these UFO conferences. But the reality I heard about this UFO conferences is that a lot of them are about talking about these ARC ships, these progenitor alien race ships that were found around the Earth.
Yeah. And
there's like all of them across the Earth, and these ships carried a lot of light from different parts of the galaxy, and they landed here because Mother Earth was a birthing planet. So, you know, outside of the star flower, which is the galactic cluster, the center of our galaxy, the Milky Way, there's a plenty of other alien races out there.
Big time.
Like according to Palladians, it's like I think they said 1,600 different alien races so far, a couple million. I have to do that research again, but the vast amount of life out there that's still being waiting to meet us is going to be like what's going to be the big change. But last thing we need is people to believe that it's an alien invasion. It's just really this rule that these people had us all believing in, this brainwashing that's been holding us down, stopping us from leveling up into that, you know, galactic flower again. You know, it's just it's that tyranny, you know, that needs to stop.
Yeah.
So
that's where you come in too, my friend. I can hardly wait to see you at a UFO conference. You're going to have one heck of a good time there. I'm telling you. For you having to meet.
It's beautiful. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. No, I want to go to one of those things. I have been waiting to. I have a lot of like I said, a lot of stuff I've been discovering. You know, astrally and whatnot, and I've been really working with this. A lot of these beings, seeing them, and you know, coming towards me, and these visions, and all these like different little information. But yeah, no, it's been good. Like I said, it hasn't been anything like you know, negative or anything. Like, I've been just actually like uncovering a lot of different truths, and it's been awakening, like, in giving me back this knowledge. You know what I mean? And a lot of connections back to the earth and spirituality. And that's the beautiful part about all of it. Is actually by doing a lot of this research, I discovered a lot about my past and my culture, and just a lot of the things and connections there with that too, and Star Nation people, and like the four directions and our wheel. Like the east represents the sun, the rising of the sun, and the south represents the star of Jupiter, because it's usually found in the south, and then in the west is Venus, because it's this disappearing star. So we only see it at the evening when the sun goes down, Venus. And then the north is the northern star, the Kiwitan way home star. So we got the four directions astronomical wheel from the star formation. And it's a very beautiful thing. Like, yeah, no, it's been good. But yeah, I wanted to call in and talk about all this there. It's been a while. I missed your show a couple of times, and I'm glad you picked up and took my call. So thank you.
Yeah, no, it was great. I always enjoy your conversations, Travis. Well, you and I have always something to talk about. So, yeah. Well, I really appreciate you calling in, my friend. I'll let you go so other people can try and get a call in too. So, anyways, have a really great night. Yeah.
Take care, man.
Thank you for sharing. Take care. Wow. Yeah, Travis is he's got some knowledge in stuff, and he's from Northern Alberta, again, First Nations Cree man, and he's learning a lot, has learned a lot in his culture, and a lot of people may not realize, but almost every tribe have been taught the different. I always talk about the North Star. The North Star was the most common storytelling. And they always talk about it in every story, and sometimes they make a story out of it. And the Navajo have done it, the Hopi have done it, which in the States on the south. Again, here where he is living, he's in the north. So, and then I'm in the west. Go figure, eh? So there, and then again, there's in the east is anyone who's actually towards the Toronto region, the eastern coast, towards that area. And I got friends out there that are connected as well. So, area code 408.
Hey there, Derek. It's Mick in Sacramento, California, USA.
Hey, Mick, how's it going, my friend?
Oh, it's going quite well, considering I've got this nasty little cold with air quotes.
Okay. Did you take something for it?
Oh yeah. No, I've been taking your basic over-the-counter cold meds. Plus, I've been taking what's the purple stuff called? Can't remember the name of it now. It's something. Oh, elderberry. There we go.
Okay.
Elderberry and lots of fruits. I've been eating lots of pineapple and strawberries and natural stuff. And
the only reason why you're getting it, I'll tell you why. The reason why you're getting it, because there are people that are shedding, so to speak, the ones that are jabbed, that are shedding. That's why you're probably rubbed off on you, because you work in the crowds all the time. Okay, you're an entertainer. That makes a whole lot of sense.
Oh yeah.
So
because I've been doing so much karaoke lately.
Yeah. So always keep your immune system up. Don't worry about, like, you guys don't have to wear a mask. Just again, if you're don't start using all these sterilization hand creams, because they don't do anything either. By the way, they're just to make you feel you need it, because all it does is dry your skin. But all you really do is, and when you go home, like I tell people, you go home, wash your hands, and then just keep your immune system up. That's all you got to do. You know how to take care of it knowingly, but it's something that it will go away, and it's on its own. There's one that I was fighting something that I was fighting bronchial asthma, and normally it's always with me for about 2-3 days, and I get it. It's hereditary in my family, and I guess this year I had it really crazy. It didn't, and I thought it would be done in 3 days. No, it lasted for me for almost 10 days, even more. And my voice just wasn't at its greatest. But the amount of phlegm I was bringing up constantly every morning, and I thought, man, how come I can't get rid of this? It's because whatever it was in my gut I was expelling everything out. Anything that was connected, that was part of me, that I was getting rid of, I was coming right out. And I was determined to make sure that I'm not going to deal with this ever again. Again, when people are out there, folks, and the people are shedding, those actually are jabbed or shedding, we are affected. Those are non-jabbers are affected by it. And that doesn't mean we have to wear masks and cover up. We just have to have our immune system up a little higher, a little bit, so that we can still be strong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I know, I've been pushing myself lately, doing sometimes 3 and 4 karaoke shows in one night. Matter of fact, last week I did that.
That's exhausting. So you're wearing yourself out. So that, again, if you knock your immune system down or wear yourself out, you get tired. And how old are you now, my friend? You must be in your 40s, 50s?
67. I'll be 68 on June 22nd.
Yeah, so our immune system is not as strong compared to being young again. So you just have to be one step ahead of it.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. So I'm going to take a break from that for a while and rest up. This is day 5. Like I said in the text, it was on Sunday, and I did those 3 swabs, and I expected that to happen, even if I didn't even put the swab.
But I don't remember.
I don't remember. They were going to come back.
I don't recommend to do swabs anymore, because those swabs are actually already laced with it. Okay, they've been dipped already. They're pre-done to make sure they'll show positive. Because I've been told that friends of mine are saying that they're pre-doing them to make you look as if you're sick to be careful. Because
well, that's
you're
why
inserting
I didn't
the sickness back into
do
you.
the full thing.
Yeah.
You
don't, and like all you have to do really, you don't have to swab. All you have to do is just put it inside the side of your mouth, because it does just as good a job. You don't have to stick it down your nose. I tell people, you shove the thing down. It was the Chinese that told people to put down their nose, because you know how they started doing that idea? They took the idea from shoving the sticks down the pig's nose. They shoved them down the long nasal passage of a pig. And so that's why they came up with the idea to do it to humans. It had nothing to do from a doctor saying, doctor recommends down your nose. No, it was the Chinese scientists said, shove it down the nose, because they don't like the rest of the world. The rest of the world, as far as the Chinese doctors who are militarized, believe that we are not, that they believe that they're superior and we are lesser than they are. So they treat us like pigs. That's why.
Well,
That's
yeah, I can see how that would happen. I can see how that would happen, you know. But, I've been sleeping, with one of my Andara crystals at night, which has been definitely helping to, clear out my lungs. And so it's getting better. It's getting better.
Just don't put the crystal down your nose. It doesn't work that way.
I sent you a video. I did a little bit of acting for a metal band here in Sacramento for their video Psychomantium. And so I don't know if you received that or not, but yeah, that was kind of fun, get my acting chops together. And so I've gotten some pretty good feedback on that. And so that's about as close as I've gotten.
Familiar. That name sounds Psychomantium. Why does that name sound familiar? Like I know that name.
Well, psychomantium, the term is when a person on this side of the mirror tries to bring back a deceased lover through the mirror, and that's what that whole story was about. So I played the role of an elderly gentleman.
I think someone mentioned about a band named Psychomantium.
Oh, yeah, no, I believe there is a band called Psychomantium, but this group was called Nivion, and so they created this song with that storyline. And as I was acting that out, I could actually feel the presence of someone on the inside of that mirror, and not the actress that portrayed the role. And I thought, ooh, I might be dabbling a little bit too close to reality here.
Well,
so and it looks quite real when you view the video.
Well, actually, it's very common. Like I do teach people how to mirror gaze. You can mirror gaze, and mirror gazing actually there's a name for that. But mirror gazing actually, you can actually see your past lives through the mirror. You can ask the mirror to show you where your past lives were, and you'll see scenes of yourself who you once were in your past lives through mirror. And also you can make contact with loved ones that cross over in the mirror. What they do is they darken out the room, and you hang the mirror from a certain height on an angle facing you, and you sit in a chair and you stare at the mirror, and just a slight little bit of light, not too bright, just enough where you can look through at the mirror, and you'll start seeing people's faces come forward. Not to scare you, just those are real loved ones that have passed away. Because I've got photographs of people that I took photographs of their inside of their home. There was a mirror, like a large dresser with a mirror on it, and there was a young fellow I got. It's on my website, and it's called Ghost Spirits and Things. And you'll see him sitting next to this dresser, large mirror behind him, and there's a photograph of a woman's face on the mirror. And the very same photograph of that very same picture is what this man actually had it in the drawer of the dresser, and it actually was his grandmother coming through. But it's actually the same portrait as the photograph that was in the drawer. But it was on the mirror.
Wow.
And she was coming through to be there, to be in presence of him, to let him know that she was there for him. So like I tell people, mirror gazing is very common. I mean, not many people do it anymore. There's a lady friend of mine many years ago. She would do psychic fairs, and she would she would put up a PVC pipe and make a big, huge square box out of it, PVC pipe, and then she would hang drapery all the way around like a curtain, all the four sides and close up, including the top. Then she would hang a mirror off a wire, and then have a couple of chairs in the room, and these people would come in and they would make contact with loved ones in that mirror. And it was really cool.
Wow.
She was always busy showing them how to do it. And so there are people even to this day. So I taught a young lady in Nevada recently how to mirror gaze. So she mirror gazes in Nevada. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny you mentioned that. I can remember doing psychedelics like when I was like 15 in 1969 and come home and in the bathroom mirror doing mirror gazing. Yeah. And I saw some things that I wasn't really prepared for. I'm thinking, okay, am I tapping into something or is this the psychedelics, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was quite interesting, you know? So before I go, I just wanted to let you know my latest creations that I've been working on while sitting here listening to the show. I'm working on a pair of shillelaghs, an 18.5-inch and a 15-inch redwood shillelagh, a pair of them. They're like twins. I found this fallen limb that was tossed behind a car that was parked. And I drove by it and I looked and I did a U-turn, came back, and I went, interesting. But the funny thing is the tree was across the road. So I don't know how it came by and how it came to be, you know, behind this car, but obviously it was meant for me to find and transform into these two beautiful wooden redwood shillelaghs. So I'm calling them my defenders of justice. And I'm carving them, working them up right now. So I sent you the messenger a before photo of them. Okay. And when it's done, I'll send you the finished version.
Cool. Oh, I got yours. I got yours in my office right here. I have it right here by my side. I always use it. It's kind of cool.
Nice. Yeah. And I think what prompted this, I mean, because, you know, people that are not familiar with shillelagh, they're Irish battle sticks going back to, like, you know, 15th, 16th century Ireland. And, you know, these things, they would sometimes fill them with lead at that knob. And they can do some damage, you know. And lately I've been seeing, these very disturbing reports about gangs of youths attacking little old ladies and trying to take their purses in broad daylight and just these random attacks. And I'm thinking, you know what? These people need to have something like this at their disposal. So with that in mind, that's why I'm making these defenders. And I want to try to get them out to people so that they can defend themselves. And also, they're beautiful pieces of art. So they're dual functionals, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, so, cool. Yeah. There needs to be something to stem the tide of this, to let them know that these kind of evil perpetrated acts cannot just go, unavenged. And so, yeah, this will send that message. One whack from this by that little old lady, they'll think twice about that. Yep.
Cool. That's funny. Okay, well, thank you so much for calling in, Mick. Really appreciate it.
Definitely, Derek. Yes, indeed, my friend. I'm glad to catch up with you. And to you and everyone listening, peace, love, understanding, and also be aware and be discernible, because the truth is out there. You just got to listen for it.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye. Wow. Okay, to update everybody else right now, thank you guys for being part of the chat rooms. Like I said before, we're going to be calling this a night now. Thank you, Thank you. I'm going to give thanks to all the callers that called in, as well as those who are in the chat room. And guys, if you want to find me, I'm actually in two places, which is Facebook as well. You can, if you join as a friend, if you haven't done it yet, join as a friend. Let your other friends know. Also, I'm on Telegram, and my page is called the True North Strong and Free. True North Strong and Free, and join up. Look for my name at White Sky Cloud. That's where I am, or Derek White Sky Cloud. And you get to join my page. You get to see all the things that I do. Make sure you put your phone number in there on the Telegram, because if you don't, then Telegram won't let me talk to you, because they have a new rule now. If no one has a phone number on there, then they're calling you a troll or whatever. They're saying that you're not wanting to be seen. And what else is there? Also, if anybody wants to get a reading, if you want to book a reading with me, you call my number, go to my website, whiteskycloud.com. And so I will talk to you guys next week. In the meantime, it's been fun sharing the information with you guys, but always follow as much as you possibly can. Also, if you want to follow this site, this page, and share it with others as well. Love to hear from you guys continuously. Let me know how things are turning out. Yeah, So I now hope the weather gets better. All this rain. I need some sun. Anyways, take good care of each other, guys, and be good to each other. And I am going to go out, and may God be with you all. Take care.
Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world for all our life. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one needs, we all need. We gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright. Isn't it time, brother, stop time? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting in the head. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. With one hurt, with one needs, we gotta learn to live together. Peace